Welcome to Musing with Tanya D. Thanks for joining me, Tanya D, for this Musing podcast and continuing our nature series on the earth element. We're going to go over the spleen and the pancreas and the 5-element theory. The spleen is actually located at the center, and when the spleen is sick, the entire body is fundamentally sick. And these days, it's not rare for the spleen to be diseased because we eat too much sweet foods. So the spleen, being the other organ for the earth element, it actually stores blood and it destroys old blood cells and is the reserve organ for blood formation in the adult body. And however, in a baby or a fetus, it's an important organ for blood formation, especially red blood cells, because the spleen also consists of lymphatic tissue and it produces our plasma cells, which create the antibodies. So tying the spleen to the immune system and then its protection against various diseases. And just so you know, the lymphatic system is the only system in the body that doesn't move on its own. And the only way to keep it active is through movement. Movement consists of anything really. You can actually break up a sweat lifting weights if you'd like, swimming, running, etc., walking on a treadmill, sitting on a bike, whatever, but the body needs to move. And the pancreas that's associated with the spleen, because it's an earth organ as well in the Chinese system, it secretes the hormones in the blood regulating the body's use of glucose or insulin. The pancreas' main hormone, it actually lowers blood sugar level by stimulating glucose that we use in our cells. And the pancreas goes on to secrete the hormone glucagon into the blood, raising blood sugar level. And the other function of the pancreas is the secretion of the pancreatic enzymes that go directly into our small intestine, assisting in the digestion of fats and proteins and carbohydrates. It actually works in tandem with the wood elements, the liver and the gallbladder. In function, they all actually work together, but they all have a different purpose. But the flavor of sweetness is associated with the earth element, and just as a little sweetness stimulates the spleen and the pancreas, too much sweet food can actually injure them and diminish your energy level, making you sluggish. So this over time could create a long-term effect of excessive use of sugar, can overwork and weaken your pancreas, leading to insufficient insulin or a weak insulin response. And it creates the inability for your body to clear and use up the sugar in the blood, leading to high blood sugar, also known as diabetes, which is an over response of the pancreas from sugar and food intake because it puts too much insulin in the mechanism involved in another problem called hypoglycemia or low blood sugar. So watch out for your sweet tooth because it can not just create cavities in your teeth, but it creates decay in your body as well as it messes up your digestion. Because the body makes its own sugar, the fuel that the body runs on from all the foods that you take in. So proteins in the form of amino acids, fats or fatty acids, and starches as simple and complex carbs can all be converted to glucose to run your body's machine. So when needed, there's also a reverse process when the glucose is converted back or stored into the liver. So it's stored there for muscle storage or for fatty acids to go into fatty tissue. An overuse or abuse of sugar can produce mainly fat, first deposited in the most inactive areas of the body, especially the abdomen, the thighs, and your booty, and then later with chronic excess in the internal organs, the blood vessels, the heart, the kidneys. And a low sugar intake allows the body to change excess fats to glucose for ready use, clearing away those flabby hidden curves in your body. So when centering the body, what does centering really mean? And how can we go along to achieve this? Centering is a form of grounding or being in contact with the earth, and we exist as a medium between heaven and earth of spirit and matter in the place where we live. Centering, as I see it, has to do with finding a balance in which we're aware of our polarities, the yin and the yang, the qualities of earth and heaven, left and right, inner and outer. So picture this center as a point within you that is the meeting point of a three-dimensional cross. The horizontal line extends from left to right, connecting your two sides. And this goes on to reflect the integration of the functions of the left and right brain hemispheres. So being centered involves an awareness of both the left brain's linear, sequential, logical, time-orientated, and verbal functions, and the right brain's timeless, intuitive images existing in space. So our system stresses our left brain development, but the quieting of this thinking side and the stimulus of the right brain activity is actually in correlation with relaxation. And relaxation is actually vital for centering. So experiencing the art of music, painting, dancing will stimulate right brain awareness, bringing your dreams from deep sleep into your waking consciousness also will help. So the vertical line of above and below is your mind and body. And this mind contains your thinking, and the body is your senses. So to experience your senses or information, it must be communicated easily to your brain. And the mind and body can easily battle because the mind has this crazy power to override the body to a certain extent, only to have the body express itself possibly in anger throughout its various parts, resulting in dis-ease in the body. So the balancing of these two poles is a key to long-range health. And the third line of your three-dimensional cross runs from inside to outside. In the center is actually you. The outer world, the environment of nature and other people, and the inner world of senses, feelings, thoughts, and even those inner voices continually communicate. And through the center, we can actually integrate these two worlds. The point at which these three lines of life experience cross is considered or called your center. And the way the Chinese evaluate the state of energy and balance or centeredness in the body is by palpitating the strength and position of the pulse in the navel or the area where the umbilical cord is. And that's the belly button. And it's your first attachment to human life. It's to stand to the right side of a person while they're laying flat on their back and take your thumb or your first few fingers, your first three. You can leave out your pinky, just of your right hand, and hold the tips together firmly so that they look square. They should be touching. And go ahead and place these three fingers and your thumb over your navel so that the navel is centered between the fingers. And you can go ahead and press gently and slowly but firmly down until you feel the pulse. This is actually the abdominal aorta, the large blood vessel that goes from the heart into the legs, and the pulse should beat strongly in that center. If it doesn't, it might be toward the left or the right or upward or downward. So, for example, a pulse that's felt above and to the right of the umbilical or the belly button suggests that someone's energy is more focused to that active side, the right side, with the mind and the upward part playing a very strong role in their life and their vitality. But wherever the pulse is, you can help bring it towards the center by massaging gently for 5 minutes or so on the belly button from the area where the pulse is towards the center of your belly button. This also helps in centering someone's energy. If you have the opportunity, Check it again later or after a few days. And does it act similarly or is it changed? How does this placement, in your opinion, relate to the person's energy state? You can also perform this exercise on yourself. So, how else can you center yourself? Actually, the question is, how do you stay there or get back there? I believe this is your point of origin. So your birth, your action, your relationships, your work, all of that take you on little journeys from this home, the center, but you always need to return to relax and replenish yourself. And there's lots of ways to do this. Some use meditation, some use exercise, but you as an individual, you need to find the way each time that works for you because there's a multitude of possibilities. I tend to do both. So sometimes what works may change just as you do. And that's cool because over time it allows you to continue on your life journey experiences. So don't get stuck thinking that you or anyone has it. The ability to listen and see and to focus and to adapt to the ever-changing moment is now the key. And this can be a formal practice, which will help you open your heart's wisdom, your mind's depth, and your body's senses. But it doesn't have to be. So you can just sit or lying while relaxing and breathing deeply will also be helpful. It could be dancing, walking, running, being with a friend, making love, drawing a picture, listening to music, prayer, fantasy, focusing within or on an object, watching your thoughts, reading a book, doing work, or really anything you enjoy as long as it helps you let go of your tensions and resistances and just relax. Thanks for joining me for this little mini musing podcast. The next one's going to be vitally longer because I'm going to go into the earth and we're going to do an earth meditation a little longer. So again, thanks for musing. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for liking, sharing, and engaging and enjoying my podcasts. Till next time, have a beautiful day. Cheers.